everybody, I'm Jonathan Randall, and welcome to another episode of How You Like Me Now. Summer is going by way too fast, but I hope it's been a great one for everybody out there. The last Save the Garden comedy show at the Elizabeth Street Garden will be on Thursday, August 31st at 8 p.m. I hope everybody will come on down, support live comedy, support me, and of course, support the Elizabeth Street Garden. The last couple shows have been a ton of fun, and I'm planning on this last one being the best one yet, so I hope you will be there. We are still, of course, fighting to save the garden, which is at risk of being destroyed by the city. Please be sure to check out their website, elizabethstreetgarden.com. Come hang out at the garden anytime. And, of course, come down and see the show and have some laughs on August 31st at 8 o'clock. So Trump got his fourth indictment this week. Apparently, he treats them like Pokemon, and he's trying to catch them all. This one was in Georgia for his failed attempts to illegally overturn the 2020 election, including charges of violating the oath of public office, racketeering, forgery, false statements, and more. Trump always says that he's the best at everything he does, so it only makes sense that he will also be the best at being a criminal. He's still running for president, and I'm sure that none of this matters to all of his cult followers. I think the only way they would stop supporting Trump is if he came out as trans and tried to compete in women's sports, or dressed up as a drag queen. He already has the hair and makeup covered for that one, and then went and read stories to kids. Of course, none of this changes the fact that Biden sucks, but he doesn't suck and have 4 indictments. So the trailer for the movie Maestro about composer and conductor Leonard Cohen came out, which is directed, co-written, and stars Bradley Cooper. Now, Leonard Cohen was Jewish. Bradley Cooper is not. And in the film, Bradley Cooper wears like this big prosthetic nose, which has people saying that he's dressing up in JewFace. Yeah, I thought just calling someone JewFace was offensive, but now wearing JewFace for a role is even more. People are also referring to the film as ethnic cosplay, saying that he either should not have worn the fake nose, or better yet, they should have cast a Jewish actor in the role. Recently, there have been, a lot of non-Jewish actors playing notable Jewish figures, like Cillian Murphy playing Oppenheimer and Helen Mirren playing Golda Meir, which kind of does seem strange considering all the efforts Hollywood is making about inclusion and representation of minorities, but how come that doesn't include Jews? I mean, if us Jews do control the media, how come we are not even casting ourselves in Jewish roles? So, I'm involved in a ton of creative endeavors, but my main passion is stand-up comedy. I am obsessed pretty much with comedy. I mean, I'm very passionate about Palestinian human rights, especially as a Jew, but comedy is really my greatest love. And to be honest, my comedy career isn't going how I would like, and it kind of seems like the more I speak out against the crimes of Israel, the less gigs I'm getting. And people keep saying now, they're like, oh, Jonathan, you're more of an activist. And, this has really made me think about limiting my Palestinian content. And this week, I went to a small Chinese bakery in Chinatown, and I was recognized by one of the Chinese guys that work there, and he said he loved my video, and he really learned a lot from them, and they meant a lot to him, and I should keep on doing what I'm doing, and he went and gave me some free egg tarts, told me, keep up the good work, and it really touched me, and it made me realize that I have more than a calling than just comedy. And while I will never stop performing and doing comedy, and it'll always be a huge part of my life and a passion and a priority for me, that, perhaps there is something greater for me out there, and it is spreading awareness about the dehumanization of the Palestinian people and what they face every day at the hands of the occupation, and letting Palestinians, Muslims, and Arabs all around the world know that Zionists do not represent all Jews. And hopefully what I'm doing can contribute to making the world a better place where Palestinians can live with dignity and we could all one day live together in peace and prosperity. So a lot of people have a problem with the phrase Free Palestine. Zionists sure want people to believe that anyone that utters those two words is calling for the immediate destruction of Israel, but that simply isn't true. Now, while there are people that may mean that when they say it, there are plenty, including myself, that don't. And trying to lump us all together and dismiss the phrase and the movement as just hate for Jews is just absolutely insane. I want to be clear with what I mean when I say Free Palestine, which is to free the Palestinian people from the occupation, from settler violence, from forced displacement, from administrative detention, from collective punishment, from restricted movement, from discriminatory laws and policies, from having their crops and property destroyed, from being killed, from being denied basic human rights. Free Palestine from the dehumanization of its people. That's what I mean when I say Free Palestine. It's really disturbing that even a simple phrase like Free Palestine or waving a flag is treated as such a threat to Zionists that they need to discredit it with accusations like anti-Semitic or self-hating Jew. Part of the issue with saying Free Palestine is the word Palestine. Zionists have gone to great lengths to try to erase that word because of the implications that there is a place and people that the word is attached to, which exposes their lies and crimes. Zionists not only deny the existence of Palestinians, but many outright call for their destruction, mirroring the position they accuse the Palestinians of having, which is a common political tactic, accusing your opponent of what you are guilty of. There are plenty of Jews that aren't Zionists, and there are Zionists that aren't even Jewish. We have to stop allowing Zionists to conflate being against or criticizing a national movement with being against a whole religion. So over the weekend, a former Israeli military general who also once headed the Northern Command and commanded an elite Israeli unit, he was the deputy director of Mossad, he called out the Israeli military for being partners in war crimes, for standing by when settler extremists commit violence against Palestinians, which there's been like over 600 cases of just this year. So he said what's happening in the West Bank is absolutely apartheid, and that Israel's occupation in the West Bank mirrors discriminatory practices used by the Nazis. He said, and I quote, "I say honestly, I am not angry at the Palestinians. I am angry at us. We are killing ourselves from the inside." His remarks comparing how the Israeli military operates to Nazis echoes those spoken by former deputy chief of staff in 2016, who said what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people is similar to actions against the Jews that led up to the Holocaust. So one example of how it's apartheid and what these discriminatory practices are is that there are streets that Palestinians aren't allowed on. Only Israelis are allowed on. There are tons of Israelis who speak out against the occupation, from the organization B'Tselem to Breaking the Silence. There are also hundreds of Holocaust survivors who have spoken out against Israel's egregious human rights violations. This doesn't make these people self-hating Jews or anti-Semitic. It makes them human beings who stay true to the values of Judaism, opposed to just towing the line of Zionist propaganda. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you aren't following me on social media, please do, at Jonathan Randall on all platforms. Also, show me some love on my Ko-fi page. I will put the link in the description, and thank you to the people that are already supporting me there. I'm Jonathan Randall. How you like me now?